Hey everyone, it's me, NegaSilver42, and welcome to another review. Today's review is of Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one for the Sega Genesis. I really do enjoy this game, and I love how fast and how simple it is. It's really just running through levels, a little bit an occasional platforming, and jumping on enemies to kill them. Not much to it, is there, folks? And yes, it's an older game, but don't worry, the next game I review will be a bit newer, so stop bothering me about that. I hate that. Everyone's like, oh, your reviews are too old. I like older games, games that are more concentrated on the plot and gameplay and not just the graphics. It annoys me so much. So much. I'm sorry about the coughing and stuff. Don't worry, that's going to go away with time. And don't be so hard on Mr. Quatlu. Anyway, an interesting portion of Sonic is this, called the Special Zone, where you're slowly moving Sonic through this area where you collect rings. If you get 50, you get to continue, and there's also a Chaos Emerald in it. Collecting all 6 gives you the true ending to the game, which I've never even seen. I've never actually beaten this game. That makes me feel really, really terrible about myself. I might cry. I don't know. Thinking about it, I don't know. Anyway, and as you can see, I collected 50 rings, and I was able to get a free continue. The continue bar will not actually even appear if you did not collect 50 rings. You can also collect 100 to get 2, 150 to get 3. I don't even think there are 150 in the area. I like how the first 3 levels or so are very quick plays. The best record I ever beat, Sonic the Hedgehog Zone 1 Act 2, which is the one you're seeing me playing right now, was 37 seconds. 37. I didn't even know I could do that well, but I did. It really made me feel really proud about myself. This game really brought a lot of things from later Sonic games into it. Introduced a lot of things also. Spike traps, Sonic and how fast he is. Badniks, which are those little robotic enemies. Invincibility, where the stars trail behind you. Rolling into a little ball. Dr. Robotnik and his evil boss, enemies of doom. Rings, you have to have 1 to stay alive. Collecting 100 gets you an extra life. Stuff like that. Really, it's how every Sonic game has been since, well, this one. That's just me running. Now, sometimes the parts of the game don't feel completely right. Like, they don't fit in with the rest of the game. Like this part, where it's a lot of platforming, and it just doesn't feel right. That's just annoying. How you're running. You know, you're running super fast to the point where you're hardly going to notice much else besides you're running. They put a spring there just to screw with your time and score. And then, of course, there's the evil giant rotating spike log of doom and the spike pit. Pardon me for enunciating badly. Now, the spike pit is not always extremely bad. As you can see, I just jumped over it. But if you fall in it, you'll fall, jump again, you'll die. It's really annoying. Now, here, Dr. Robotnik comes down in his little flying mobile. Another continuing factor in most Sonic games. Now, if you die, you'll come back with absolutely no rings, and the second you hit him once, you will die and get a game over. Which really bothered me. But when you actually do finally beat him, which happens in just a second, once you defeat him, a capsule will come down from the sky, and you jump on top of it, and all the animals come out, and you go to the next zone, which, in the case of defeating Zone 1, you unlock the Marble Zone. I don't understand why it's called the Marble Zone. I understand why this is called the Green Hill Zone, and is one of the most famous aspects of any Sonic game, because it's very continuing. Oh, well, there are marble areas in the background, but eh. Now, some of the badniks, like the purple worm, bother me because you jump on him, he explodes, and the spikes hurt you. Like that! Who does that? Now, this game, I think, kind of doesn't go... level doesn't exactly go kind of coincide with most of the other levels in the game because it's a lot of waiting for the giant pillars of death to stop going and rotating. And this part bothered me a lot. You have to push the block over. Now, I don't think in any other Sonic game I've played did you have to do that. Or at least don't have to do that often. I mean, yeah, there are puzzles in some later Sonic games, but not as many. Which is one of the reasons why I hate this level so much. It just bothers me. And it just boggles my mind. And the lava can kill you. And this level is also extremely unfair. I mean, look at this. I'm doing pretty good. I mean, I get there in like 22 seconds. I run down here. Boom. It squishes me. Well, what happened after this game? That's a good question. The next game was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And here's the cover for it in just a second. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 introduced several new enemies, Super Sonic and Tails. The next game was Sonic CD, which introduced Metal Sonic and Amy, who is Sonic's love interest throughout the series. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was the next game, which introduced Knuckles the Enchida, and more use of Chaos Emeralds. Sonic and Knuckles was the game after that, where you could play as Knuckles finally. Sonic Adventure, I'm not getting really into this, June, saying that. Sonic Adventure 2 followed Sonic Adventure 1 and introduced Shadow and Rouge. Oh, and by the way, you're listening to the Sonic X theme song. Sonic Heroes is the next main game in the series, where you're allowed to play as many characters, including some from Knuckles Chaotix. Shadow the Hedgehog was terrible, but it was the next main game in the series. It was bad. Sonic the Hedgehog was also very terrible. But it did give us Silver, who has psychokinesis, and he's really cool. Sonic Unleashed is the most recent game and allowed you to go into the warehouse. Some other games are Sonic Advance 2, Sonic Advance 3, Sonic Rivals, and of course Sonic Rivals 2. Overall, I'm going to give the game an 8 out of 10, and before I have a mob of angry people at my door wondering why I didn't give the game a 10 out of 10, it's mainly because parts of the game are not unfair, and here's where I come back to the Marble Zone, where this thing comes down and squishes you. But the game also has a lot of good aspects, such as the special zones, how fast it goes, and, of course, enemies, and it's not extremely difficult. So I'd like to thank you, and I will see you in June for my Sonic Adventure review. And here is the Sonic CD ending, the perfect ending to a perfect review. So long.
Circumstance that you can handle. When you use your mind, we stood back, got it good. But this ain't his neighborhood, he's taking over. No, no. Time is now, he can't hide. Find the power deep inside and make it happen. Sonic Boom, Sonic running faster. Save the planet from disaster. Spinning through a world in motion.